Now, let's travel back in time, to a angle involving Stacy and Test. I think this storyline was hurt by the writers repeatedly forgetting one important detail. Stacy Keibler was supposed to be a babyface throughout. Stacy suddenly decided that she wanted to become a manager again. She asked to referee a match so she could get a closer look at two prospective clients. Throughout the contest, Stacy was clearly biased in favor of Test. So it came as no surprise that she helped Test to win and then asked him to become her client. For the first few weeks, D'Lo Brown pleaded with Stacy to manage him. While some fans don't like D'Lo harassing Stacy, others felt sorry for him. He was the only person who didn't understand why Stacy picked Test over him. Well, there's one reason, and I'm sure you guys could figure it out. Storyline. As Test turned babyface, fans turned on Stacy. She developed a superior attitude. Stacy acted like any man she didn't find sexually attractive was not deserving of respect. While fans warmed to Test, they also warmed to his opponents. It was hard for Test to get over, in my opinion, when he kept rushing to protect the biggest villain in his matches. Test began dating Stacy in storyline, and Stacy took on Scott Steiner as a second client. Immediately, she began snubbing Test to drape herself around Steiner. Test gradually became a jealous heel, but fans were reluctant to accept it. After all, it was Test who was wronged. His girlfriend was flirting with another man in front of him. Test eventually dumped Stacy, and she began dating Steiner that same night. While Test and Steiner feuded, Stacy began behaving like an actual babyface at last. For the next while, things were okay. The rivalry included a trilogy of matches where the men competed for Stacy as quote-unquote property. Steiner won the first clash, and Test won the rematch. Test would degrade his ex as revenge for how their relationship ended. But there was one particular low point. Steve Austin was the co-general manager. Due to his violent outbursts, management determined that Austin could not harm a superstar unless he was physically provoked. This led to a running gimmick where Austin would attack anyone who touched him even slightly. Test took advantage of this to get in Austin's face. Stacy pushed Test into Austin, and Austin laid Test out. As a thank you, Austin demanded that Stacy drink with him. You remember this. Even though she didn't like beer, she caved into pressure and tried to drink it anyway. Austin did not think that she was trying hard enough, so he hit her with a stone-cold stunner. Remember, Austin could only attack people who physically provoked him, and Stacy did not touch him. Austin was not revoked for his assault on a woman, where still Stacy tried to earn his forgiveness. The next week, Stacy tried to restore Austin's opinion of her by chugging beers while letting him pour some over her. Back to the main feud, Test won the final match in the trilogy. This meant that he owned both Stacy and Steiner as his property. The lovers agreed to cause problems for Test. At one point, Test got a match for the World Tag Team Championship and ordered Steiner to help him win. As planned, Stacy cost Test the match by distracting him, allowing the opponents to beat him. As Test lay out cold, Steiner jokingly told Stacy to ask for forgiveness. He told her to ask if he forgave her, but said, hell no. Suddenly, he slammed her with a belly-to-belly suplex. Stacy was now under the control of two if you're following with me here, 2 abusive exes. Test and Steiner continued on for a while as a tag team. Test was eventually sidelined with a neck injury and released with a dozen other superstars. Steiner and the WWE mutually agreed not to renew his contract when it expired. Both members of the tag team departed quietly. The storyline ended with Stacy getting no retribution or resolution for the abuse she had suffered. Around this time, Stacy began receiving more offers for projects outside of the WWE. With her media career starting to take off, she eventually decided that it was time to leave the WWE. You know, before I go, guys, and the writers just always seem to forget to do their math. One of the most pointless, meaningless angles ever. What was the end game? What was the end of it? What was the meaning of it? Still don't know. Just one of these storylines that just kind of went nowhere. Hope all is well. Look forward to speaking to you guys very, very soon.